Welcome everyone to the reboot of my random RCDB roller coaster series. And for this series, if you haven't watched it before, basically I go through 10 coasters on RCDB. I get them randomly by clicking this button right here, as you can see where my mouse is. So I look at 10 different coasters along with their respective parks. And at the end of each segment, I look at which coaster is the best, worst, and weirdest, and for parks, I look at the best and the weirdest one. So basically, RCDB Surfing should be a pretty fun series, and I'm very happy to bring it back, rebooted, and everything. So with that being said, let's get right into this with our first coaster, and we get Dragon Legend at Roman U Park. So I actually have heard of this coaster. This is a Mauer Rides X-Car flying launch coaster, as you can see, but it is a Mauer launch coaster. As you can see, has some pretty nice rock work. And the park it's at is very interesting. They also have an Intamin coaster that I'll show in a little bit. It's a very similar layout to Kanonen, but without the launch. But the rock work and the theming looks pretty nice around this ride. It's a pretty cool looking attraction. So there you have it. Don't think I'm going to go through all the pictures here, but there you go. As you can see, 3 inversions, LSM launch. It looks like a pretty solid ride, pretty short, but it looks pretty good. And yeah, there you go. Oh yeah, and here's this also. I knew there was some interesting feature about this ride. So the launch that basically starts the ride also acts as the brakes, which is like super interesting. So pretty good ride to start off on. It's a really cool one. And we'll move on to our next coaster, which is Diamond Mine Run at Magic Springs in Arkansas. So basically this coaster is an ENF miler coaster. It says it's a 16-foot outside spiral. Curious of what other ones there are. Blazing Buckaroo at Elitch Gardens and Great Chase appear to be the same model, hopefully maybe even layout. But anyways, I am not aware of this coaster, but I had never heard of it until now. Not too familiar with this park outside of the big coasters. But yeah, just your typical kiddie ENF miler. It's got a little bit of rocks here and there, but nothing too special. But it honestly looks like a pretty fun kiddie coaster, so I'll give it that. Nothing too crazy, but it is an interesting ride. Next, we have Sapphire Speedster Coaster at Marimbula's Magic Mountain in Australia. This is a Pinfari Zyklon. Doesn't look like anything. I mean, honestly, this is definitely a ride I wouldn't like to ride. I've heard very mixed things on Pinfari Zyklons. And Pinfari does not have the best reputation. But pretty simple coaster. Very cursed sign up there. I really don't understand what that's going for. That's some nightmare fuel right there. And they have it up there as well. I wonder if that's like more of a park thing. Very strange. But there you go. Basically, yeah, just Pinfari Zyklon, not too much to it. Been operating since 1994. And there you have it. Next, we have Tsunami at m&ds theme park. And this is a Pinfari invert. Wow, 2 Pinfaris in a row. Yeah, this thing looked pretty crazy. I heard this ride wasn't really all that good. And weirdly enough, I think if you look at the trains, it has like Philadelphia Eagle logos on them. Yeah, there it is. Very strange ride. Not really sure. I don't think I would ride this thing, but it is for sure an interesting coaster. And a rare model for Pinfari. I don't think they made too many of these, so there is our next coaster. The next one we have is Dynamite at Frasate Park Plone. Probably totally butchered that, but gonna try. And this is Amok Ride's Big Dipper. It actually looks pretty solid, pretty short ride. I've seen a POV of it. But as you can see, it looks pretty solid. and it even has some theming with these vulture looking like things. I guess they are vultures. So I didn't know about the theming, but that's cool that they have it, even animatronics. So probably in the queue is my guess. I don't know that that's on ride. Yeah, it looks like a pretty solid coaster. Another pretty short one. I think that's kind of the theme of this video so far, is all the coasters we've gotten are pretty short. But as you can see, it's a pretty respectable coaster. 3 inversions, including the dive drop, but it has been a little while since I've seen a POV of this thing, so yeah, but that dive drop looks super cool. So very nice ride, very nice looking ride. That is a contender for the best one so far with Dragon Legend. The next coaster we have is Lightspeed Coaster at Hot Go Park at Happy Jungle World. This is a suspended looping coaster. That is a Chinese one. This one has an interesting color scheme with the rails are white, but like the spine is blue, which is interesting. Not something you usually see on a coaster, so I'll at least give it credit for that. But the overall ride, I don't know if this is the manufacturer that makes the really bad SLCs. I know there's 1 or 2 or even a few that infamously make some pretty bad ones, and there's other ones that are actually alright. But this coaster doesn't look all that great. The grass setting's kind of cool, I'll give it that. Interesting looking coaster just because of the color scheme more than anything else. So there you have it. And next we have our next coaster, which is Fun Bob. What a name. I actually like that name quite a bit. This is a mountain coaster at Adventure Park Simone. I hope I pronounced that right, in Italy. And it goes right under a ski lift. That's pretty interesting, pretty cool. And kind of zigzags around the mountain, near misses with the trees. Looks like a very scenic ride, as most mountain coasters tend to be. Going down the hillside and everything. Looks pretty cool. So, yeah, look at that. Just in the forest and everything. Seems like a cool experience. I've never done a mountain coaster, but they're pretty cool. On the shorter side for a mountain coaster as well, only 2,000-ish feet. It looks pretty fun. And it is a coaster I hadn't heard of prior, so that's pretty cool. The next coaster we have is Pandemonium at Six Flags Over Texas, which just got a repaint. I know that it ended up becoming pink, right? Purplish pink, something like that, yeah. Which is a interesting change for sure. I kind of like it though. It looks very reminiscent of like DC Rivals, so that's pretty cool. I have not done a Pandemonium of this model. I've only done the one at Six Flags Mexico and Discovery Kingdom, which is a different model. It looks like a pretty fun spinning coaster. But once again, and also this one has the Twix trains, but once again, another pretty short ride. So that's definitely the theme of this video. We'll see if that changes. Our next coaster is Gusanito in Mexico. This is a kiddie coaster. Looks like it just has a generic oval layout with a little hill here. Very basic kiddie coaster. Not too much to it. Not too much to say, but it exists. The train design is the most interesting thing with the animal here. But other than that, it's pretty generic. And then our last coaster we have is Space Car at People's Park in China, which appears to be another kiddie coaster. This is a Golden Horse Space Car. And wow, it's taking forever to load. I'm gonna make sure to fix that for the next video. We do, but it has some nice grass field. It's not on some plot of dirt, so that's at least pretty nice. Definitely could use a repaint just whenever these pictures were taken. 2019 could certainly use it. But other than that, it very much reminds me of like a Zero Tivoli coaster. so, which they're fine kiddie coasters, nothing too crazy. I guess in some cases family coasters, but there you have it. Yeah, very reminiscent of that, just with the trains not being as long. So there you go. And then now we're gonna look at the, actually no, right, we have to decide the best coaster. So it's definitely for me between Dragon Legend and Dynamite. Pretty close one, to be honest. But I think I'm honestly gonna have to give the edge to, maybe I look at this as which one would I rather do, because it's hard for me to judge which one's gonna be better off these two, especially not having seen a POV in several months, if not well over a year. But I think I'd have to go with Dragon Legend here. It's just a more unique ride. I mean, actually, I guess Dynamite's also pretty unique. But with the rock work, the theming, I think this is the one I'm gonna go with, so Dragon Legend. And for our weirdest coaster, we didn't really get, I mean, I guess Tsunami, because that one's pretty strange, just looking through. I don't think we got anything too strange. Outside of that, yeah, not really. I mean, Space Car, I guess you could say, but it's not even that unusual. Yeah, only 2 of these were ever made. And then I guess the Express is the, yeah, we're gonna say Tsunami is the strangest. You could even put Dragon Legend in there too, just because of that one feature it has. But we're gonna go with Tsunami. I think that's gonna be our pick. So with that being said, we're gonna move on to the parks, which sometimes these are more interesting than the coasters themselves. As I mentioned, they have Euro Express, which is their Intamin multi-inversion coaster. Like I said, very similar layout to Kanonen. It's indoors. And this park is a hybrid of an indoor and outdoor park. As you can see, it actually looks pretty nice looking at the theming. There's Dragon Legend. It has a little monorail type ride. The Rapids ride also has some nice theming. So all around it looks really nice. And there's your indoor section. As you can see, apparently it took a lot of inspiration from, I think it's Latte World. And you can very much see that with the just theming of the place. But it looks like a pretty cool park regardless, theming wise, and with the 2 relatively unique coasters, some other solid rides in there. You have a castle that's very reminiscent of something you would see at a Disney park. But it actually looks pretty nice, all things considered as well. So yeah, this looks like a pretty nice park, and I think we kind of get the gist. Also, they got a top scan, so there you go. Roman U Park looks pretty solid. Next, we have Magic Springs. I honestly, I know this park exists, and I know it has the Mauer Sky Loop, the SLC, and with Gauntlet and X Coaster, and they have a few other things. But to be honest, I don't know that much about it. Outside of that, looks like they got one of these type of flat rides. I believe Knoebels has one of these as well. But not too much to say. Doesn't really impress me. Oh yeah, they also have their wooden coaster, which was relocated from Florida, and Big Bad John, which is an Aero mine train from Six Flags St. Louis. Next, we have Marambula's Magic Mountain, which has this, I guess that's the entrance, so that's pretty cool. A dinosaur, looks very much more like a family oriented park. They also got some models of some prehistoric animals, so with the dinosaurs, and you also have your Ice Age animals here with a saber tooth and a mammoth, which more looks like an elephant than anything, but I guess it kind of looks like it. There's a golf course, some slides. Yeah, very much kind of and I guess they have a mountain coaster. Interesting. Or I guess a slide of some sort. Great, I'm gonna have to blur that out. Fantastic. But didn't expect that. I was worried about some of the Danish parks, but I guess I'm gonna have to do that for a few other ones as well. So, oh well. Okay, yeah, so I was mentioning the weird Nightmare Fuel signs. It looks like they have a few of those in the park. That's more a park thing than the coaster theme. So that is interesting. And you have this thing. I don't know what it is, but looks like a nice photo op. Yeah, they only have the one coaster, so definitely seems more like a family-oriented park. But looks pretty solid for what it is. Now you have M&ds, which has had quite the history now. You only have this one picture of it. Yeah, so it had tsunami, it also had tornado, which was said to be absolutely atrocious. But it was a park that in Scotland there aren't too many of them, so around there it was very much a park that was loved. And I believe this is the one that's kind of had, I feel like this one's had a bit of a troubled history just being around, so, but it's still operating, so that is good. And then we'll move on to our next park, which is RCDB Park Plone, which is obviously the park that has Dynamite along with El Toro, and even 4 other coasters actually, which is pretty nice, 6 coasters in total. You have, I don't know if that's the entrance, but that's pretty cool. Asian temple, I like that. You have a ghost windmill thing, that's pretty cool. So it has some nice theming. You have one of those things that kind of looks like it's from Efteling, with the long-necked character. And then you have a train, a themed building. Not too many pictures of this place, but it looks pretty nice. I like the fantasy vibe it has, so looks like a pretty nice park. I've heard good things about it. Next we have Hot Go Park Happy Jungle World. They have Light Speed Coaster, which is the, let me just make sure, that's the one we just looked at. And they also have Time Travel, which is the Gravity Group wooden coaster that looks pretty good. And so there we go. Let's check out this park. Ooh, they got a log flume with a double down. Nice. I like that. And then, so that's got to give some good airtime. Also has some theming as well. A lot of these parks do, which is actually pretty nice. Change of pace from what you would normally expect. An S&S Scream and Swing. A Zamperla, whatever you call those. I don't know. Oh, Zamperla Mega Disco. A Teacups ride on the water. Is that a hotel or is that like an actual castle at the park? It looks hotel-esque, but also looks very inspired from like a Disney style of castle. One of these types of rides, it's a water shooting ride on a rail. Interesting. Looks fun. You have a flat ride here with some nice seahorse theming. And then another building, they really went out with these buildings. They look pretty unique. At least this one does, just being so colorful like that. So there we have it. Let's see what else they got. A wave swinger, a double-decker carousel. That's actually pretty sick. You don't see too many of those. One of those like monorail, not monorail, but just like little train rides that goes around the park. Romantic Gourmet Sinks. Not sure if that's a mistranslation, but maybe it's a good place to eat. Not sure about that, but sounds interesting. And then we also have a ski lift and some more. I'm not sure what this is, but it certainly looks interesting. Looks like a project of sorts. A little tunnel with a lot of those like kind of wind things, so that must be really cool when there's wind blowing. That'd be quite the spectacle. And then some more little bits of theming. So it looks like a pretty nice park. Pretty impressed thus far with the parks we've had so far, and as I say that, we get a park with no photos, so that's unfortunate. Next we have Six Flags Over Texas. I don't think I'm going to take too long through this one, and there's not too many pictures anyways, because this park is one that we most of us probably know about. But it looks pretty solid. I've heard it's anywhere from like a middling Six Flags park to one of the better ones. It's looked like one of the more intriguing ones to me. There's your original log flume, original aero log flume. That ride, which I don't know if they even have that anymore, but at one point they may have. I mean, obviously they did at one point. There's your sort of like cool architecture as well. Mr. Freeze and Batman right next to each other with the Superman drop tower. Roaring Rapids. Another cool flat ride. There's a lot of like kind of Spanish theming, which is pretty cool. I like that. Titan, and then also I guess their old Boomerang flashback is there, along with the old Texas Giant, and this is also nearby the Cowboys Stadium, which is cool. They also have their oil derrick, which I think is what that thing is called, pretty sure. And there you go, that's Six Flags Over Texas. I don't know that they have this ride anymore, but it looks pretty cool. I hope they do. And there you have it. So that's over Texas. Next we have Parque Xochipilli. I don't know how you pronounce it. But you only have this sign here, so not really a whole lot to look at. And then we have People's Park in China, which most of these pictures taken about over a decade ago at this point. Okay, now we have some more recent stuff. Kind of more of the entrance area that looks like they have some nice greenery and landscaping, which is nice. Yeah, very much definitely looks like a beautiful park to visit. And a few rides. It's almost like a regular park, but that just has some rides just based off the limited pictures of it, which is kind of cool, and that's why they have the kiddie coaster. Not too much of a coaster lineup, but that kind of makes sense. Like I said, looks more like a normal park you would visit, or like even a botanical garden type of thing, but it has some rides, so that's pretty cool. So with that being said, the best park, or at least the one I would want to visit the most, I'm gonna have to go with Over Texas for this one. There are some other good options for sure. Roman U Park looks really nice, as does Freze Park Plone, Hot Go Park. And if I were doing it while also thinking about like which one I probably am least likely to visit, I would probably pick one of the Chinese parks just because they're so hard to get to. But for the sake of this, we're gonna go with Over Texas. And then the strangest park, I mean, nothing stood out that much. Although we have to give it to Marambula's Magic Mountain, just with the weird the weird signs. And it's also interesting that they like have a bunch of like models of like prehistoric animals. I mean, it's kind of cool, but it's just kind of a weird choice for like what it's supposed to be. I assume more like a amusement park. So, and I didn't see any zoo exhibits either, so it's not like I don't think they're incorporating that either. So we're gonna have to go with that one. But with all of that being said, I hope you guys enjoyed the reboot of my random RCDB Coasters series. If you want to see more, let me know in the comments down below. And if you are new, make sure to check out the channel and subscribe. And with all that being said, thank you all for watching, and I will see you all next time here on Coaster Hour.